So, Dr. Sachs, as an expert on all things related to parenting, one of the probably the most heartbreaking things a parent can experience is when their son or daughter doesn't seem to be accepted socially. You know, they're kind of left out of the social circle. What can a parent do in that situation?
Think about what matters. And here is where the research is really helpful. So many parents think that it's really important that kids be popular, that kids have lots of friends, that kids be doing lots of stuff with their friends. And that's all great. But what's much more important is the relationship between parent and child. And that is true not just of young children, that is even more true of teenagers. So often parents will say to me, I'm concerned that my son isn't popular because he doesn't play the video games, or my daughter isn't popular because she's not on Instagram. And I say to those parents, that's not a problem. What's important is the relationship between you and your son or you and your daughter. Uh, Actually, we now have good research that the kid who is most popular at 13 years of age, that being popular as an American kid at age 13 is now a major risk factor for bad outcomes 6 years down the road. That 13-year-old who is the most popular kid is much more likely than other kids to have issues with drug or alcohol use 6 years down the road. That wasn't true, incidentally, in the United States 40 years ago. That's a fairly recent finding. Being popular is now a risk factor for bad outcomes. And that's because American culture has changed. Being defiant and disrespectful now boosts your status in the eyes of your peers. That was not true of American culture 30 or 40 years ago. It is true today. But being defiant and disrespectful is not a marker for good outcomes down the road. It is certainly a marker for using drugs and alcohol, abusing alcohol down the road. So prioritize the family. If your daughter's not invited to the big party, that's fine. You and your daughter can go on the bike trail. Uh, and again, you're going against the grain of the culture here because American kids are brainwashed, beginning with Nick Jr. and the Disney Channel, that whether or not your friends like you is the most important thing in the world. It's not the most important thing. The family is way more important. But I see parents who don't get that, and they're driving their 7-year-old from one play date to another. And I tell those parents, cancel the play date. Make a family date instead. Prioritize the family, dinners at home with family, doing fun things together as a family. There's nothing wrong with same age peers, but the family is more important.
Such a good reframe because as parents, and I can remember it when we have two boys, and when one of them was in Cub Scouts, I remember feeling like just observing some interactions. I thought, oh, well, John is on the outskirts here socially, and it just breaks your heart as a parent. Like, why isn't aren't those kids including my son? But you're saying, hey, hold on, get some perspective on this and realize this isn't the end of the world. And in fact, there's actually data that shows that those kids that are the most popular are perhaps going to have some major difficulties that your son or daughter won't face because they have that family bond.
That's right. So
So
the next time your daughter comes home in tears because she wasn't invited to the party, go do something fun with her, parent and child together, because the parent child bond matters way more than the peers. The peers come and go, but the parent child bond is supposed to last.
such a good word. Thanks, Dr. Sachs.
Thank you.